guys, welcome to the Garbage Time Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Nolan. Special quick bonus podcast today because, as I'm sure you've noticed, we were off July 4th, and then we were off for the All-Star Week. We will still put out our regular podcast on Thursday. I'll be chatting with Jim Norton and Matt Serra, who hosts the UFC Unfiltered podcast, so be on the lookout for that one. But today, special bonus pod, I'm joined by producer Dave.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
What up?
So you guys know what that means. Eventually, we're going to talk Bachelorette. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But we're going to chat about a couple other things first, because it's been a while.
Yeah. I want to hear how San Diego was.
Yeah, so San Diego, for those of you who don't know, I went out for the All-Star Game, which was fantastic. Really fun. I've never been to an All-Star Game before. I've always wanted to go to... A home run derby has been on my bucket list of things to do before I die. That's what a bucket list is. Yeah. And so I went to one. Very different in person than on TV. Yeah? I will say.
Better or worse?
Well, so we didn't have seats, but your press credentials can get you in. But big problem there is that with your press credential, you can't drink. You can't drink with that on. Ooh. And so I'm not really one who goes to sporting events to not drink. Yeah. So what we were doing, can I get in legal trouble for this? No, it's past the, they can't. Say it. So I used the credential to get in, put it away, got a beer, drank the beer, and then when I was like, I kind of want to watch, I could put the credential
That is
on,
genius.
and I sat down in the press section. We should Google if that could get me in trouble, and if it can, we should delete it. Okay. But I don't think it can.
I doubt it. It's just having a beer. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I could have easily chugged 8 in the parking lot and gone in. They can't stop me from doing that. Yeah. I didn't.
Right.
It was 6. No, but so we had just had a long day of shooting, and we just, whatever. But I also forgot that when you sit in the press section, you're not supposed to clap or cheer. I was doing that a bunch, and I had to continuously be reminded to stop doing that. But it's just different. So when we were walking around, when we couldn't sit down, the energy's really weird. Like, music's on all the time. There's a DJ, so you can't really tell when anything's happening and when it's not. But I will say the best part was that they had dogs doing Frisbee things.
That's awesome.
Did they show that part on TV?
I don't remember, honestly.
So in between, they got to keep the energy up because it's a home run derby. Like, you could easily have downtime in between, but they don't.
Nope.
And so they had these little dogs with their trainers, and the trainers would throw the Frisbees, and the dogs would do crazy shit.
That's awesome.
I was so into it. That's when I needed to be reminded not to cheer. And I'm like, people, we're dogs.
Yeah, but you're like, I need to cheer for this. I would be weird not to.
So yeah, before San Diego, I was in LA. I did Not Safe with Nikki Glaser on Comedy Central.
That was awesome. Good job.
It was fun. It was really fun to do a show with an audience.
Yeah.
Because you could feed off of them. Yeah. And they were a really cool audience. So we did that in LA. Then I had to fly. You knew this. I had to fly to Providence for a wedding and then fly back. And those are one-stop flights because there's no nonstop from LA to whatever. And then my flight got delayed. And then I missed my connecting flight. So I had to spend a night in Chicago. And my bag was checked already. So I didn't have any of my stuff. So I had to sleep in my clothes in Chicago and then wake up at 5 and go on another flight. And then once I got to the wedding, I had to go fly right back. And this was a lot of travel. Yeah. And then hit the ground running with the madness of All-Star Week. So
never stopped.
Yeah, it was really crazy, but really fun. We got to, we planned to get out there and get some big names that we could sit down and chat with, but everything goes to shit in those situations where there's a game, everyone's out there to do press and media, there's batting practice, there's home run derby, and so we had people that were supposed to do the show that just canceled, and then we had things that got pushed and moved around. So we just decided we would go out to batting practice and stand there and just grab people as they walked by.
A lot of good people, yeah.
Yeah, we got really, and everyone was really nice.
That's awesome.
Once they came over and talked to us, they were really nice.
Yeah. I know you only had short time with each person, but did anyone in that short time stand out as that guy's cool?
I just love Rizzo, but that could be because we already quote unquote knew each other and
cool,
had he was so nice. All the Cubs guys were really nice. I did a thing for the Fox pregame where I had all the Cubs.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And was so in producing mode and TV mode of I gotta get this done. We only had them for probably Schwachter 30 seconds we had them for total. And their team guy was like, let's go, that's it, let's go. Oh. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to nail this on the first try. I have to get it into 40 seconds because that's how long we have in the pregame show.
Right.
I have no room to ad lib. I have to fly down the line. So I'm putting them in order, and because I have them on my card in order. And I look up, and I have this moment where I realize that's John Lester.
Yeah.
Like, I've loved John Lester and like cried when he left. Not like a lot of tears, like a little. And like was hoping that we were doing the bait and switch and we were gonna bring him back.
Yeah.
Like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Addison, you're here, and blah, blah, blah. And I just looked up and was like, holy shit, I love you. And like shook his hand.
That's amazing.
And then the PR guy was like, let's go. Sorry, okay.
You're like, this is a big moment for me.
But it's so crazy that when there's so much to do, you forget to go, whoa, this is cool. And then you like post a picture on Facebook and all your friends are like, whoa, that's so cool. And I'm like, shit, it was cool. I was just so busy and so sunburned, I forgot to remember how cool it was.
Yeah, but it's good that you at least remember for that moment to be like, oh, you're meeting John Lester. This is a moment. This is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
everybody was so nice. Even Bryce Harper. Like, come
he
on,
did
I
so
want
much
him to be a
shit.
dick.
Right, and it seems like, no, he's a really nice
No,
guy,
he's a
and
nice
everyone else
fucking
thinks he's a really nice
guy.
guy, too.
Well, so we asked everybody on every team who they least wanted to play with.
Yeah.
Because I thought it would be funny because, like, these people, you're playing with them, against them all season long. They're not your buddies.
No.
And now you have to play with them as teammates. So I'm like, who are you most like, fuck that guy? And when no one would offer an answer, because nobody would, I kept going, it's Bryce Harper, right?
Yeah, and everyone's like, no.
And they were like, no, he's really great. I'm like, no, he's not. He sucks. And then I met him and was like, oh.
I get it. You are really
So you're
great.
nice and whatever. Everyone was kind.
That's awesome.
Maybe the assholes are the ones who wouldn't come over and even do an
Good point.
interview.
Yeah.
Maybe
Let's
those
go
are
down the list and
dickheads.
figure out who is not on our
Yeah.
show and hate all of them.
Big Poppy.
That guy.
Just kidding. Big Poppy was busy, obviously.
Yeah,
but
big weekend for
would
him.
have been cool. And I think that's it for San
Yeah,
Diego.
any other highlights? Or?
Is there anything interesting that happened?
Got to meet the
that we
friar.
did? The friar was cool.
Yeah.
So funny story as quickly as possible about that. If anyone was watching the All-Star Game, we did a quick thing in the broadcast where Joe Buck read a promo for our show, and they showed us. The concept was that I was sitting in like the worst seat in the house.
Right.
Somewhere that got a little bit lost because they forgot to zoom out. But
Yeah.
you know, things are crazy in a live broadcast.
Yeah.
But so they have us sitting up in these seats with the sun. Like, I'm telling you, it was so hot. Yeah. The cool thing about San Diego is once you get in the shade, you're immediately cooled off.
Right.
But in the sun, it's very, very hot. So we're sitting up in these seats, and I didn't have sunscreen on. I don't think. If I did, I'd put it on hours ago when we were doing other stuff. We bring the friar up because the hit is supposed to happen at the top of the third inning. So we're sitting there. We've got the camera guy with his huge rig who's sweating his face off. And we're sitting there. They start to count us in, and Big Poppy's moment happens. So obviously, I'm like, I'm not sitting down for this. I'm going to stand up. So I stood up. I'm like celebrating Poppy. And then I sit back down. We're sitting there. The hit got pushed to like 3 innings, like 2 innings later. The poor friar in his friar costume is sitting there. I don't think he anticipated sitting in the sun for that long. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm hot.
Sorry.
I can't even imagine what you're going through. So the second they were like, okay, cut, we're good, he was like, I have to go. Because like you can't take your head off.
Of course.
Because you're in public.
Of course
So
not.
the guy's probably trying his hardest not to pass out.
Poor dude.
Poor guy.
Poor
but hey,
dude.
now we're married, so that's exciting.
Yeah, you guys look tight.
So that was San Diego.
I want to hear.
Nothing much else, right?
Well, I don't know. You told me a pretty sick story about your trip back.
So I debated whether or not I was going to admit this.
Okay.
But I feel like podcast listeners, you're different from TV listeners and Twitter people. And if I have something I want to confess to you, I feel like this is a safe space. So I have a confession to make. And I'm not proud of it. And please don't tweet hate at me because I already have to live with this regret for the rest of my life, possibly. So the morning of the return trip, woke up in San Diego, had just had my first ability to sleep in, woke up at like 9:30, in days. Like the whole week has been nonstop and like 4 hours of sleep a night. So this was the first night I could like get 7 hours.
Yeah.
So wake up as late as possible, throw all my stuff in my bag, pile my hair on top of my head. I hadn't showered in, I'll be honest, again, in safe space, 3 days. I hadn't showered in 3 days. I didn't feel like putting any makeup on, literally none. Which, when girls are like, fresh face, like, no, I mean none. I didn't have, like, any, so the bags under my eyes were out of this world. So anyway, I'm like, I'm just going to this stupid airport. Who cares? Throw all my stuff in my bag, get in the car, get to the airport. Flight's delayed, of course, because they can't ever tell you when you're in bed still. Like, oh, dope, another hour of sleep. No, you're going to get in the car, get to the airport, and then sit there for an extra hour. So that's what happened. So I go over to the desk I like to, when I get to the airport, I like to see the gate, make sure everything's good, and then I'm like, maybe I'll go get a coffee, just in case, because you never know if an airline's going to be like, we're boarding now. It's like, oh, well, I would have missed my flight. So anyway, I go over, I check in at the desk, I talk to the lady for a little bit. I'm walking back, like, okay, time to go get a coffee. And with producer, not Matt Ford, producer Matt Collette, we're walking back, and I went, wait. And he stopped, and he turned to be like, what? And he said my face went blank, like completely blank. I dropped my suitcase and my purse, and I just stared. And he's like, what's wrong? Rob Ryan was boarding the flight next to mine.
Oh,
like,
shit.
In line, boarding the flight to Detroit, which I imagine was because he was flying Detroit to Buffalo. So, not that I put too much thought into it. I've been thinking about it since it fucking happened. And this, I have seen Rob Ryan lookalikes. I've walked down the street and been like, hey, guys, that looks like Rob Ryan. Fat dude with gray hair. This was not that. He was wearing a Padres shirt. His stomach went out exactly as far as I happen to know Rob Ryan's stomach goes out. His hair in person was like dark gray to an ombre light gray, and it had this perfect wave. It was shiny. It was magnificent. It's like, how Beyonce always looks like she has a fan on her?
Oh, yeah.
He looked like he had a fan on him.
Yeah.
He was a vision. Like, I thought I was hallucinating. The gate next to mine in San Diego, which is not a humongous airport, I don't think, boarding the flight. And so I immediately, when I saw him, turned my back and was like looking face to face with producer Matt. And I was like, I can't. And he was like, you have to. You have to go introduce yourself. And I'm like, Matt, I can't. If this is the only time I meet Rob Ryan, I look like I've been punched in both my eyes. Like, I want to, and he was like, he'll know who you are. He'll know who you are. I'm like, no one would know who I am right now. That was kind of the point. I didn't care. I didn't think I was going to see anybody, and I didn't want to have conversations, so I didn't do my... And I was like, I can't. I'm like, how much time do I have? Can I put on some lotion? Can I cover up this massive welt on my chin? And he's like, well, I'd say you've got about 35 seconds because he's getting ready to board. Which, by the way, main cabin.
Ooh.
I respect it. The only thing I didn't love is he had a disrespectful amount of carry-on bags.
Ooh.
I don't like when people go over the one personal item, one carry-on bag limit, and between he and his wife, he was pushing 5 or 6.
He tried to claim no, this is my personal item. It just happens to be a full rolling luggage.
Exactly.
Yeah, not cool.
It was a little. I'm like, you can't fit all that, but I'm sure he's heard that before.
Yeah.
Maybe he had to buy an extra seat, for his. So then he just put his bag there. I don't know how it works. I'm just saying I was a little disappointed.
All right.
But anyway, so he was with his wife. Oh. So that's another thing. I didn't want to be like, hi, I'm the girl who publicly is in love with your husband. Just weird. Yeah. And then there was just so much. I didn't have enough time to convince myself that it would be fine and everything was cool. And I bet people are going to be like, wow, really? You're that insecure that without any makeup on, you wouldn't go over and, yes, sometimes. Also, I was tired. And also, if you ran into the love of your life in a public place and you weren't looking your best, you too would have a second of hesitation. Problem was, he's in line getting on a plane. So my seconds of hesitation, I probably would have eventually been like, you know what? I got to do it.
Yeah.
I got to go say hi because it's Rob fucking Ryan. But I was like, I have 30 seconds to decide if this is going to be potentially the one time I meet him. Wow. And Nat was like, he's going to say, I know who you are. We've talked on the phone. And I said to him, in my heightened state of craziness, I'm like, I'm still not convinced that was even Rob Ryan I talked to on the phone.
Come on.
I still
That
think the
was
producers made
him.
that up and it wasn't real.
It was
Because
him.
we had this producer who used to work on the show who was very big about surprising me. He always was telling producers, guys, make sure you have these moments where you surprise her. And I wouldn't put it past him to have paid someone to pretend to be Rob Ryan.
Totally.
And so the last thing I wanted to do was run up to him and go, oh my God, you're Rob Ryan. I'm Katie Nolan, and have him go, who?
No.
It would have been mortifying.
He wouldn't have known who you were.
All of this had to happen in 30 seconds. He then boarded the plane, and producer Matt got to listen to me talk about it for the next 5 hours.
I can't believe
about
this.
how I can't believe, like I should have, or maybe I shouldn't have. We went to get coffee right after. I told the woman behind the counter. She said, how are we doing today? I said, well, not good. I just almost met the love of my life, but I don't have any makeup on. And I was feeling really shitty, so I was way too nervous to go over. And she was just like, can I get you a drink? Or are you, like, why are you talking to me?
Wow. I just really hope that you, and I do think that you will meet him eventually, because I really would hate for this to haunt you for the rest of your life. Like, that was your window, and you go in it. So there's nothing I hope more for you that you meet Rob Ryan in the very near future to make this feel like a blip on the radar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm much more driven now.
Yeah.
The other thing is, it's very strange to meet someone who you've wanted to meet all your life, and in your bag that you're holding on your shoulder is a laptop with that man's face stuck to the front. Like, I was gonna go, it's me, and pull out my laptop and see if he's like Katie Nolan. But yeah, so the moment it happened,
crazy.
God bless him, Matt was like, I won't tell a soul. He's like, our secret, no one has to know. And I immediately texted everybody I knew. It's like, holy fucking shit.
Oh,
so, but he was willing to keep the secret for me that I pussied out and didn't go up to meet Rob Ryan.
I can't believe it.
But guys, crush confirmed. Like, he's so beautiful
You're all
in person. I'm all in. He's so majestic. I love that man. Yo, guys, more podcasts in a minute, but first, I want to tell you about Blue Apron. I love Blue Apron. Like I've told you guys before, I use it. It helps me cook, which I need all the help I can get, and it makes it as foolproof and easy as possible. Not all ingredients are created equal. Fresh, high-quality ingredients taste better and are better for you, so it's important to know where your food comes from. For less than $10 per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. $10 per meal. I usually was like hitting up delivery websites, and you pay a lot more than that per meal. This way, they deliver the food to you, you cook the food, you feel better about that, not like a piece of garbage, and you're paying less. They set the highest quality standards for their community of artists, artisanal suppliers, family-run farms, fisheries, and ranchers. Whether it's Japanese ramen noodles, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, or heirloom tomatoes, Blue Apron is bringing you the best. New recipes are created each week by Blue Apron's culinary team and are not repeated within a year, so it keeps things interesting. Plus, there's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them, and each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients and can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Guys, it's foolproof. I cook delicious meals. I've never said that sentence before in my life, but I can say it now. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/garbage. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/garbage. Still my favorite website because I can't believe they let us do that. The food isn't garbage, I promise. Just the name of our show. Today's podcast is also brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage approval process into the 21st century. Fast, powerful, and completely online, Rocket Mortgage has taken all the complicated, time-consuming parts of applying for a mortgage out of the equation. Hate searching through stacks of old files and paperwork? With Rocket Mortgage, you can easily share your bank statements and pay stubs at the touch of a button, helping you get approved in minutes for a custom mortgage solution that's been tailored to your unique financial situation. Even better, with Rocket Mortgage, you can do all this on your phone or tablet. It's a quick online process that you can manage from the convenience of your couch. So if you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/garbage time. Disclaimer, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030. All right, yay, wow, I said it fast. That was a really good fast read. All right, back to me talking. Guys, we gotta talk Bachelorette. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And as long as it's been since we've done this podcast, I still have trouble saying the word Bachelorette. It's just so, the L is like Bachelorette.
Yeah, we just call it batch.
Yeah, well then it sounds like Bachelor.
Right.
Don't take the et out of Bachelorette.
Yeah, I would never do that. That'd be terrible.
Fuck the patriarchy.
Oh, terrible.
Anyway, so where are we at?
Well, I mean, last I know you were in San Diego for 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Not much to report in that episode other than
Alex is gone.
Alex is gone. He was a part of this weird like horse date where like a guy.
I had $1 for every time I went on a weird horse date.
It was weird. It was like this gaucho like showing how he could massage his horse, and it was really weirdly sexual. And then he told JoJo and Alex, who was in this like weird costume with a French beret, like, and he they're like,
I missed a good episode.
Yeah, they're like, you could spoon with the horse if you want to.
The fuck?
They're like, okay.
Horse sex comes up all the time on this show. It's garbage time.
Oh, you're right. It has.
We talk horse sex a lot.
It
more
is
than
a
we
thing. So then Alex and JoJo go and like lay in the nook of the horse.
Nope.
And they're like talking.
Was Alex the little spoon? Because he is a tiny little
Probably.
man.
I forget the exact like way they lay down. And then they're just talking. And then like they're like, this is what a beautiful creature. And then at one point JoJo's like, you could lean over and kiss me. And they start making out like while spooning the horse. And it was so creepy. It wasn't cool at all. Like, so no joke. So then Alex went home. A few hours after
the horse threesome?
So after the horse threesome, Alex is like, yeah, I love you. Or I think he said, I love you, probably. And she's like, yeah, I know this isn't supposed to be an elimination date, but like, yeah, I'm not feeling this.
Did she say, yeah, I know this isn't supposed to be an elimination date, but nay, bro.
Oh, and he's like, hey. So yeah, he gets some packing. He's crying, whatever. And then also.
He cried?
Yeah, he cried. James Taylor also went home and cried. Felt bad for him because like that guy, you just felt like was this like, and he kept saying it. He's like, I'm this like nerdy guy who like, and I'm with all these good-looking people. How did I even belong here?
Great question. You should have been eliminated first round.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry you made it this far. You knew that the whole time.
Agreed.
You kept watching him going, you poor little bird. You have no idea you're about to get shoved out of the nest.
Yeah. And then the only other takeaway from last week's episode we missed was that this week was hometowns, and JoJo asks Jordan, so like who in your family am I going to meet at hometowns? Which is a very
coy way of asking, is Olivia going to be there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This was totally not producer planned at all. And he's like, my parents, my brother, and his wife or fiance or something. And then he's just casually, my middle brother won't be there. She's like, that's Aaron? And he's like, yeah, we don't really talk. And she's asking these questions. She's like, oh, like what happened there? And he's being really elusive, kind of like he was with you when you had the conversation with him, where all he would say is like, it's complicated. And all she said to him was like, all he said to her was this like weird sentence of like, let's just say like I chose to stay in my brother and parents' life, and let's just leave it at that. Like insinuating that Aaron chose not to.
So you're saying, yeah.
Right.
You're saying Aaron didn't. Like,
right.
We'll just leave it at that. Let's just say I'm nice.
Right.
And we'll leave it at that.
Right.
Like, okay, what do you just say what you're saying?
And yeah, and then my
Little
favorite,
did I know I scooped.
You did.
I didn't even mean to. And I felt, you know what? Sometimes you have those moments where you look back at something and you're like, nah, I could have been better at my job that day. I was nice, and I felt like he was doing us a favor by being on the podcast. I felt like I went too far, and then when he said like we don't talk, I was like, maybe he's addressed this and he doesn't like talking about it. So I backed off, and now I'm like, you should have backed off, Brokaw. You should have gone in there and fucking journalismed, and I didn't, and I'm sorry, but I still scooped.
You did.
JoJo.
You did, for sure. In fact, that last week when everyone was reporting about how they were estranged, it was like often a lot of articles and even like Entertainment Tonight were like quoting and referring to your interview with him, saying like on a podcast, like he already said this. So you did get credit.
We were the elusive podcast.
Yeah,
that's
so
like
feel good about that.
Sources.
Yeah, exactly.
Dope.
So there was that. I don't believe for a second that was the first time an Aaron conversation happened with JoJo and Jordan.
The second you meet Jordan Rodgers, DGERS, you're like, oh, and you're a quarterback. Are you related to Aaron? That's the first thing. Especially because she did Sports Nation, that little Sports Nation bit, like what, week 2 or 3? It was like, I'm a huge sports fan. Like then definitely the first thing you would ask.
100%.
I had an Uber, I was an Uber driver. I had an Uber driver with the last name Bonner once.
Ooh.
And I was like, any relation to Matt? Like that, you hear Rodgers and you hear, like you would ask.
100%.
Also, I'm way too conversational with my Uber drivers.
Yeah. So that you watched, but last night was hometown dates.
Yeah,
What were your big takeaways from that?
So, okay, let's, I mean, we should go through it like...
Yeah, let's go through chronologically.
Yeah. So first we had Chase. So I'll tell you right now, 2 of these were memorable and 2 I completely forgot about. I took notes throughout the show because I knew like they just look like cookie cutter white bros. They all look the same, like so the same.
100%.
So first date was MacGruber, right? In the snow.
Yes, Chase.
If I don't call him MacGruber, I'll get him confused with Robby.
Yeah, that's smart.
Or wait, is Robby MacGruber?
I forget.
Fuck, Robby's MacGruber.
Right, so first date was Chase in the snow.
See, this is so hard.
Yeah.
People are like, Katie, your job's really not all that hard. You try watching The Bachelorette and keeping track of the white dudes with the swoosh haircut. You try.
Yeah.
Anyway, so first date, Chase in the snow. I don't really remember much about that date.
Yeah, it was kind of...
happen?
it was vanilla.
The whole storyline there was that his parents got divorced. So they were going to have to visit 2 separate houses to not make it awkward. And then in the spirit of not making it awkward, Chase was like, yo, Dad, why didn't you love Mom?
Yeah,
like,
super awkward.
Fucking awkward. But so we're down at the point of the show now where there's 4 guys left, and so each guy essentially needs to have their storyline, right? There has to be the narrative and the arc so that at no point you're like, whoa, she only really gets along with this guy. There's no downside to him, so she's clearly going to pick him. So Chase's little storyline here was that his parents broke up, and so like how could he even know what love is?
Yeah, really tough.
Which is fucking insane.
Really tough.
When 50% of marriages end in divorce, and both of his parents are now remarried. So I'd say he's able to find love. He's probably got a bigger chance of finding love at least more times than anybody else because his parents are crushing at that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chase, I'm bored with you. I'm out. Right. Next, we had Jordan.
Yeah.
I have a lot of issues with the Jordan hometown date.
Let's hear him.
Okay, first thing I noticed, Jordan's hair only works in a vacuum. Any other scene where there's elements, wind, water, anything, it is bad. Like it's doing this weird fan thing, like a peacock, and he just looks at the camera and keeps talking, and you want to be like, touch it. Just please touch it and fix it, because what's happening?
Right.
First episode ever that I watched, I think I said, it reminds me of when a dog's ear flips the wrong way, and you're like, oh, no, just flip it back.
Yep.
It's infuriating. I have yet to find a scene, unless they're sitting in a room where it's like climate controlled, where his hair isn't doing this weird, and I think that means your haircut doesn't work. If it only works in one situation and looks ridiculous in every other, it doesn't work, man. Get another haircut. Okay. And if you want a template, the 3 guys left with you have basically your haircut, but they can go outside with it.
Right.
They have outdoor haircuts. So just modify a little bit.
Yeah, talk to your bros.
Get an outdoor haircut. Enough with this weird.
Great.
Anyway, so second issue.
Yeah.
They go to his high school.
Of course.
And he's walking her through an office of some sort. I can't pay full attention to The Bachelorette anymore, so I've like picked up on details and then zone out for the rest because I think I'm losing brain cells. But I noticed they're in this office of, I assume, the coach or the athletic department, and he's pointing on the wall to pictures of him. There's no fucking way, if you went to high school with Aaron Rodgers, that your picture is on the wall in the athletic department. There's no way that they're like, you know who else went here? Jordan
Just
Rodgers.
Random pictures, like put right in the middle of the big wall. Oh, look, there's a picture of me. The producer didn't put it here 2 minutes ago.
Why would you hang up a picture of Jordan? And then she's like, oh, is this your brother? And they cut to it, and it's his brother Luke on the wall. Like, yes, that is my brother. As if.
Right.
And also I love that JoJo said, you know, when I first met Jordan, I was like, oh, he was totally like cool. He must have been like cool and a big deal and funny and like total hot shot in high school. And now I'm looking at his pictures and I'm like, not really. What made you think Jordan Rodgers was cool and a total hot shot? Do you know which Rodgers it is that you're talking about?
Yeah, I love it.
When I first met this failed quarterback, I was like, he must have been so cool.
Oh, God.
And then she basically said he was an uggo in high school, which is not very nice.
JoJo's definitely that girl who's like, I was so awkward in high school and no one thought I was pretty and no one gave me the time of day. And that's how I developed my awesome personality because I had to use that.
You're describing literal things I've said in interviews before.
Oh, okay.
I was an uggo in high school.
Okay.
That's how I developed my personality. It was middle school. What else?
What else about anything else about Jordan that stood out to you?
I'm trying to remember all these notes I have that were in my laptop that I wrote on this piece of paper.
No, it's totally cool.
She also says he never had a high school sweetheart. So since we're back here, I sort of feel like I could be his high school sweetheart. No, because you're not in high school, sweetheart. That's how that works.
Doesn't make sense, sweetheart.
Just because you guys were awkwardly banging in the library, which
that
was
was
super
awkward.
weird.
Really awkward.
doesn't mean that you can be someone's high school sweetheart.
No, that doesn't work.
They were
It doesn't
making
work
out
like that.
against like the Dewey Decimal System.
Right, and she made
no respect.
She made like a noise at one point that was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There was like a and I'm like, what's that? No.
It also was weird for me when you watch somebody like have a makeout session in an area where you can very vividly picture what it smells like there.
Yeah.
Like elementary school, high school library, you remember that scent. So while they were making out, I was remembering it, and then I was like, ew, now I feel like I'm present, and I don't want to be present. And I was like, why are you making out in the library?
Yeah, that was so
It wasn't
awkward.
even a cool-looking library. Somebody put some money into the Chico High School. They need some, like, new books.
Yeah, get them something.
Do people still buy new books?
Yeah, definitely. That's a thing.
I guess so.
Sure.
Then they go to the house.
Yep.
The producers are zooming in on photos of the family. Mm-hmm. Faces are blurred.
Ooh.
Of the family.
That's just sad.
And it didn't, I was studying the build. It didn't look like Aaron. But faces are blurred? Like we couldn't get consent to show. And also, Aaron's a public figure, so doesn't that mean they could show it whether he wants it or not?
That's a great legal call.
Like what?
Yeah.
Blurred faces?
It is weird.
Uncle John does not support The Bachelorette.
He
will not be
associated.
His law practice just got back on its feet. He will not suffer. So that was weird.
Yeah, that was Jordan.
And then there's one more thing about Jordan. They had the 2 seats at the end of the table.
Oh my God.
That they were like, and then JoJo in some sort of voiceover was like, but it couldn't help but notice something was missing, and the camera pans. These 2 empty seats, which is like, well, why do you have seats there then?
Yeah.
That's how you could notice something was missing. You guys left the head of the table empty instead of just moving a chair out on every side and moving everybody for, like, giving me more leg room.
Insane. Absolutely
Also,
insane.
what? What? You mean you're shocked that Olivia Munn didn't want to be on an episode of The Bachelorette? We invited her, she just didn't come. Yeah, because The Bachelorette is a joke, and she's legitimate. She has a career to worry about. You can't just go around showing up all willy-nilly on Celebrity Apprentice. That means you're not a celebrity. Like, the second you show up on a celebrity, fuck that. 2 seats at the fucking head of the table.
I love how much they over-dramatized
the whole thing. It was like he
thing.
died. It was like they were talking about it like he died.
We don't really talk about that
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly. Anyway, Jordan's narrative storyline is, and I know that you say you love me now, but what if that changes? Which is called life.
Right.
The weird thing I've noticed about JoJo over the hometown dates was that the girl's looking for an absolute guarantee. Like, she's looking for someone to go, he'll never leave, he's with you forever. When he says I love you, he means it, he'll die for you. Like, every relationship, newsflash, is like, oh, you love me now and I love you now, and something might change, and yeah, that sucks, but you don't get to live in a fluffy pillow unicorn paradise where, like, you make sure this person who said I love you only will ever say I love you to you, or else they're a fucking asshole.
Oh, this is so true.
It's ridiculous. Anyway,
All right,
that's Jordan's narrative. That's the downside, is that he might someday not love her.
Mm-hmm, maybe. Robby.
Spoiler alert, that day was like yesterday. None of them are in love.
Yeah.
One more quick break. Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites, and now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100+ job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with one single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 800,000 businesses. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/Katie. That's ZipRecruiter.com/KATIE. One more time, to try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/KATIE. Back to the pod. Next, we have Robby, who I just completely forgot about. You just forget him. I just forget him.
Yeah,
He's just
nothing,
boring.
yeah.
He's boring. He's dumb. MacGruber. He's MacGruber. So Robby's storyline, and the only thing that I remember, is that his ex-girlfriend, the timeline doesn't add up, and like people think that he broke up with his ex-girlfriend just to be on the show.
Right, the ex-girlfriend's roommate is spreading this rumor about that.
Don't you
and
hate
JoJo
your ex-girlfriend's shitty roommate?
Yeah, always starting trouble.
Always being a meddler. That rabble-rouser.
And JoJo was very upset about the possibility of this ex-girlfriend still potentially being in the life, fucking up her world.
Welcome to life.
Right.
Everybody you meet at a certain age has an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend that meant a lot to them that's always going to be awkwardly in the background of their life.
100%.
Pretty much a common thing. Because when you meet someone who hates their ex, that's the biggest red flag. When someone's like, oh, I don't fucking talk to my ex. I hope she dies. It's like, cool, you're a psychopath. Something's weird here. I'm out.
Totally.
But girls always act like they want that. They want the guy who never talks to his ex again, but that also, you don't want it. That's much worse.
Yeah.
That's much worse. Also, there was a point where Robby said, right before commercial, everything's going so well. I mean, this is so perfect. I don't see anything that could possibly go wrong. Like, I don't like to victim blame, but dude, you're asking for it.
Yeah.
Even if nothing was going to go wrong, the producers will now make sure something fucking goes wrong.
They're like, we need a scene after Robby says nothing's going to go wrong where something goes wrong.
An ex-girlfriend's ex-roommate on the phone and have her spread some sort of rumor. So that was ridiculous. But that's his storyline, and I don't give a fuck. Luke's face is starting to bother me. Sums up Luke's face. And then I shouldn't say these two sentiments back to back, and please don't take it the wrong way. You remind me of Luke a little bit.
Whoa.
Something about Luke's face annoys me, and then something else about Luke's face reminds me of your face.
The part that doesn't annoy you?
I hope so.
Okay.
We'll find out.
This is interesting.
Stay tuned.
I
don't see what could possibly go wrong.
No, I decided that Luke this week is Matt Saracen, but like slightly better looking, because
Luke isn't better looking. Luke looks, I think it's because you have sharp features and he has sharp features. That's it.
I like that.
But he has sharp features and looks like he's smelling poops.
Okay, but his
voice. He looks like his nose is a little turned up in like a disgusted way all the time.
Do you see? Yeah, but do you hear the way he talks as Matt Saracen-esque a little bit with like?
Yeah, I can see that.
I just want to let you know that my heart is open for you and that I really care about you.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Anyways,
with Coach's daughter.
Exactly.
A couple takeaways here. Number one, Luke's dad looks like the kind of guy I have zero things in common with. The kind of guy I could have no casual conversations with. He had like a cowboy hat and was like, boy, what do you think about that girl there? Nope, sorry, sir. Nice to meet you. Enjoy your time in Texas. Number two, obviously this is producing, but she says like, oh, I'm going to meet, his mom, his dad, and his brother or something, and a couple of his friends. Pulls into this humongous barbecue. There's tons of cars. There's tons of people. And JoJo's going, Luke, why are there so many cars? Luke, who are all these people? Luke, why are so many people here? And he just keeps like smiling and not saying anything. I would strangle him. Luke, why are so many people here? Well, here we are. Like, you're literally ignoring me. Why did you invite so many people? And there's just a huge lapse in judgment by Luke to think, you know what? I'm going to invite every person I know and then tell her that my friends are so close they're like my family and have there be 40 fucking people here because they quote-unquote support me, not because, what we all know, they just want to be on TV.
Yeah,
These,
sweet moment for
no
them.
shit if you told your town, hey, everybody, we're filming an episode of The Bachelorette here. Does anyone want to come to a barbecue? People you've never met before will come and pretend they're your best friends. So don't act like, look, all these people showed up for me. Surprise, I have lots of friends. Get out of my face with that shit, Luke. Also, there was that scene where, and Luke at this point has not said I love you.
Yeah, big
I don't think
issue.
Chase has said I love you either,
no.
But I think he said I'm falling in love with you or something to that. Maybe he has said it. Tweet at me if I'm wrong. You always do. But so it seems to be this problem, this storyline. Luke won't say I love you.
Yeah.
So he tells his dad or whatever that he wants to say it, and then him and JoJo are alone. And he walks her somewhere.
Oh.
And when they arrive, there's a big heart on the ground, drawn out of rose petals.
Yeah, by the way, there was a path of candles leading to this
Yeah.
heart of rose petals.
Which-
Perfect moment.
Yeah, fuck right off. Because who cares? You can draw a heart on the ground in rose petals. I don't fucking care.
Right.
Make me a crop circle that's a heart, and I'll be like,
that would be impressive, yeah.
That's talent.
Yeah.
Did you use a protractor? But this was like, oh, I sprinkled some rose petals on. Stupid. Second of all, she's like, oh my God, this is so romantic. Yeah. He didn't do it.
Nah, bro.
He's been with you all day. So don't give him credit for the producers being like, yo, we set up this dope place for you to finally tell her that you love her.
Yeah.
So just walk her over that big pile of flower waste and say I love you to her. But he walks her over and she's like, oh my God, this is perfect. It's like, yeah, because a lot of television production money went into making that stupid floor heart.
But then
he doesn't say it.
No.
I think he said it like I'm falling in, or I think I'm falling for you.
He said my heart is open for you. He was like, see this, there's a heart here, you get it? Well, my heart is open for you and my heart is with you. And it's like, okay. And then she leaves.
Also, it's because this episode's Texas, I think we just need to take a moment to appreciate the underrated ability that The Bachelorette has to take every location it travels to and boil it down to like the one or two simplest stereotypes and like push those as a thing. So she gets to Texas and she's wearing cowboy boots.
Of course.
I'm back in Texas. The dad's got a hat and they're doing an outdoor barbecue at a farm.
Yeah.
Then when they were in Argentina, like Don't Cry For Me Argentina, and when she's like, oh, Fuerza Bruta. Like, I love this culture. It's just like magical that they can go to so many different locations and just nail the complete
100%.
like incorrect, most simple.
Great point.
Yeah.
All right, so to wrap this up, it brings unless you have more, but to bring it to the rose ceremony happens. They're at an airport and
an airport hangar.
An airport hangar, yeah. And she, in her like little confessional right before, she's like,
I think I'm gonna have to eliminate Luke, which is you immediately, if you've watched any minute of TV in your life, you're like, well, something's gonna happen. Because why would she, spoiler alert, her own rose ceremony before it happened? So she says, I think I'm gonna have to eliminate Luke. Yep. And I look up and I'm like, because again, remember, tangentially paying attention, because fuck this show.
Yep.
I look up, I'm like, why? he seems like the only one you like.
Yep.
She goes out, she's like getting ready to do a rose thing, like to the point where she's holding a rose and is like, this is really hard. And all of a sudden, Luke goes, can I talk to you for a sec, JoJo? She's like, sure. And they walk off. Since when can you do that?
Yeah, that's not how this works,
You
bro.
can't, like, I get it that everything is chaos and chaos is good TV. We have to have some rules established.
Yeah.
You can't just say that you went into a rose ceremony and can go, hey, JoJo, can we chat? Like, that's not how this works. You had all that time to chat before. You can't chat now.
Yeah.
Like, next week, they're going to have somebody like Batman comes down in a Batmobile and scoops her up and he wins. Like, this is not how this works.
Right.
You need to establish some sort of order and then make the entertainment happen on top of that. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of the fact that, like, not every episode ends with a rose being given out.
Let's have some structure.
Have some fucking consistency so that I'm not waiting the whole show for, like, let me just find out who gets eliminated. And then, oh, nobody gets eliminated. Find out next week. Next week when the episode's randomly 4 hours and 15 minutes long instead of 2 hours. And then next week we have a half-hour special, but then we also have this 1 hour reunion. And just like, I want the show to start like this, and by the end I want to know who's going home. I don't want to have to wait. I don't want to have to go online. Fuck this shit.
Those are all fair requests. I'm with you.
So
that's Bachelorette.
So I think Luke
Bachelorette.
wins. I think Luke wins.
Okay.
Based solely on the logic that being the last one to say I love you is the smartest shit ever, because everyone knows in any relationship the person with the upper hand is the person who cares less. So as long as she's like, everybody else has said I love you to me and he hasn't, like, maybe I should try harder. Maybe I should keep him around longer. What am I doing wrong? Meanwhile, by the way, JoJo, if it upsets you so much that no one has said I love you to you, count for me how many of them you've said I love you to.
Right.
Because it's 0.
Right.
And these poor dudes have had to, even though they're lying and full of shit and don't mean it at all, or know the meaning of the word love, especially the one whose parents got divorced, they have to look you in the eye and say I love you and have you go, that's so sweet, and then kiss them. Like, at least if you know they're full of shit, at least say it back.
Yeah,
like, who made this rule that she's going,
oh,
I might love you. I'm really falling for you. I enjoy the time we have together. Bachelor.
Right. It's a stupid rule, right? And
so dumb.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna eliminate somebody because they didn't say I love you to her. Fuck you.
bullshit.
You didn't say.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Anyway.
I also think Luke wins.
Do they
and that
fuck
Jordan's
next
the
week?
Bachelor. I don't know if we'll get into overnights next week. We might.
No, next week is the Bachelor men, the guys tell all. Or
yes,
whatever.
but there's also an actual episode where we're going to get the cliffhanger. We're going to get the results of the cliffhanger with who she eliminates.
Yeah,
and I think they might.
We might not.
Up, I don't think we'll get the overnight.
Because
why
would we get that now? Why would
obviously
that
not.
come
Right.
next? Why
Maybe
wouldn't
we'll.
they give us a half-hour episode where we just find out the thing we should have found out in the last 5 minutes of the last episode?
I love your fire
I'm
about
so
this so
I can't
much.
do this anymore.
I love it.
Quick shout out to Peter Hall at Max Outrage, who was live tweeting with me The Bachelorette, though I wasn't live tweeting or watching it. You just kept tweeting at me his thoughts about The Bachelorette. At first I was like, what's this guy's deal? And then I was like, I love this so much.
Shout out to you, bro.
Yeah, he was talking about shoving toothpicks in his eyeballs because it was painful to watch. But by the end, he was totally bought in. And he brings up a valid question. If your job is former swimmer, what's your job?
I don't know.
Aren't we all former swimmers?
As long as
swam a couple
I took
times.
swimming lessons.
I've swam at some point in my life.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, you want me to stop talking?
Yeah, but I loved your fire about this.
I know.
It was great.
All
It
right.
makes me so happy.
Junk mail?
Yeah.
You've got junk mail.
Today's junk mail question comes from Kipsang. Kipsang asks, besides the Red Sox, what's the best hat in the MLB?
Ooh.
All-Star theme question.
Ooh. Okay.
What do you think?
All right. There's so many to go through. I probably
I
should
know.
have prepped one
I
beforehand.
mean, I'm looking at them now so I can think of an answer.
Not
so
the Yankees. The Orioles have a pretty cool hat.
that's a great
Do
answer.
they
It's
still have
actually
that
was gonna be
bird
my
with the
answer.
hat on?
Yeah, that was actually going to be mine too.
That's a cool one.
That's a cool one, yeah.
I like the Expos logo.
That was dope.
Obviously not a team anymore. Who else has a cool hat?
I mean, so the Brewers, my favorite all-time
picture
hat
it.
was my all-time favorite hat was the Brewers MB that looked like a glove when the M and B came together with a glove. All-time favorite hat.
That's a cool hat.
So respect to the Brewers for that. I don't know. I also like the Blue Jays hat. I think it's cool. They have the thing
bird.
with the bird, but then they have like the little Canadian leaf like on the
that's
bird
right.
too. So that's pretty dope.
Cool.
And the Angels hat with the halo, the A with the halo is also cool to me.
No, I'm not into that.
All right, cool.
I like a clean logo. So
Okay.
what's the Cubs hat look like?
It's just blue with a red C.
See, I don't hate that.
Right.
It's kind of nice.
Um,
but I think the Orioles is the dopest. Because anytime my hat can have a thing wearing a hat on it, on the hat section,
with you.
I'm in.
Right.
Give
It's
me
like-
a hat picture and somebody else wearing a hat.
Perfect. It's like the dolphin on the Dolphins helmet wearing a helmet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like
Yeah.
that. That was an amazing connection you made off the top
Thanks.
of your hat.
That's how we do this. Good stuff.
Cool,
All right,
thanks,
Orioles
Kit
it is.
Sang.
You're the man.
All right, guys, that's it. Like I said before, we'll be back on Thursday to talk UFC with Jim Norton and Matt Serra. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and rate this podcast and leave a comment, but only if it's 5 stars and only if it's a nice comment, because I just broke out in hives talking about The Bachelorette for you. Or you can listen on Google Play, Art19, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or a Frying Pan.
Yeah. It's true.
If you have an engineering degree, you can listen on a Frying
This is
Pan. If you need details, go to our website. We don't have a website, do we?
Yeah, don't worry
Thanks to
about it.
producer Dave.
Thanks.
Thanks to all you guys for listening. Bye. I love you. Mean it. Today's podcast is also brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage approval process into the 21st century. Fast, powerful, and completely online, Rocket Mortgage has taken all the complicated, time-consuming parts of applying for a mortgage out of the equation. Hate searching through stacks of old files and paperwork? With Rocket Mortgage, you can easily share your bank statements and pay stubs at the touch of a button, helping you get approved in minutes for a custom mortgage solution that's been tailored to your unique financial situation. Even better, with Rocket Mortgage, you can do all this on your phone or tablet. It's a quick online process that you can manage from the convenience of your couch. So if you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/garbage time. Disclaimer, equal housing lender, license in all 50 states, NMLS Consumer Access.org, number 3030. All right, yay, wow, I said it fast.